What's up, guys? We got UFC Fight Pass coming up soon. They put on an amazing card, and today I'm going to be breaking down some of the matches. The first one that we got is Kody Steele versus Ronaldo Jr. It's a super interesting matchup. Ronaldo, his initial transition to no-gi didn't go too well. He ended up fighting Craig from our team, and Craig managed to heel hook him pretty quick. But with that being said, he did go on to win no-gi worlds, so he's clearly getting better at it. Now, I do think that Kody will have the advantage. Kody is mainly focused on no-gi and MMA now. So Kody's been doing it, much longer than he has. I do think that it's going to be a wrestling match, and I do think that Kody does have superior wrestling. So I think that Kody will be able to either get to his back standing and then either, hold it for a vast majority of the match or finish him. And if he doesn't get to the back, I do think that he'll be able to put him down and start getting his guard passing going. Another interesting thing about this match is the rule set. To be honest, with Fight Pass, they keep changing the rules, so I don't really know exactly what the rules are. But the last time I competed for them, it was a modified ADCC rule set where they were very, very aggressive with negatives and stalling. So, that kind of adds an X factor to the match, as far as who's more active and who's going to be getting the negatives. With that being said, Kody is never known to stall. He's always the one pushing the pace, so I feel like the rule set will favor Kody in this case. Now, let's go on to the next fight. For the next match, we got Fowler versus Pedro Marinho. Again, another super interesting matchup. For this one, my pick is going to have to be Fowler, especially considering the rules. I feel like Pedro is much more of like a counter wrestler, and he's not really known to, push the pace on the feet, whereas Mason, tends to just dive head in and really, go after the guys. I think that both of them are going to struggle to take each other down, so I honestly think this one's going to end up coming down more towards the negatives, and I think that Pedro will get more negatives than Mason, and Mason will win via points. Now, both of these guys have fought Craig before. Both of them do have wins over Craig. Pedro has 1 win. I believe Mason has 2. Craig also does have 1 win over Mason at ADCC. But with that being said, I do think that Mason's the much more dangerous opponent. He submits a lot more people than Pedro does. Mason was initially supposed to be fighting Gordon on this card, but Gordon is, temporarily retired due to health issues. He's mainly only doing the ADCC super fight now. Pedro ended up stepping in, and now it's Mason versus Pedro. The next one we got is Meregali versus Matheus Diniz. Now, Meregali has done a great job of transitioning from gi over to no gi. At his first ADCC, he placed 3rd in his weight division and 2nd in the absolute, and he's been on a tear since, submitting huge names, like Penna. So he's transitioning very well. Now, Matheus Diniz has won ADCC before, but he has not been nearly as active since he won the ADCC championships. The last ADCC, he lost to Giancarlo, and I haven't really seen him do any super fights or anything like that since. So Meregali's definitely been the more active competitor. Now, Meregali also has a bit of a weight advantage going into this match. Matheus Diniz normally does 88 kilograms, whereas Meregali does under 99. So Meregali will be quite a bit bigger than Matheus. With all this being said, I definitely think Meregali has to be the favorite going into this. He's been on a tear. He looks, unstoppable recently. Lots of impressive wins under his belt. So I do believe that Meregali will win. Now, Meregali did, in fact, call his submission about a month ago. He says he's going to armbar Matheus, and I do think that Meregali will be able to get it done. I think that Meregali will be able to tire Diniz out to the point where he can pretty much hit any submission that he'd like. So I do think that Meregali will win via armbar. Next up, we got J-Rod versus Mateo Cardona. Now, I don't know enough about Mateo to really speak about it, but AOJ guys are always super tough, and they've recently been killing it on the no-gi scene. J-Rod has also been looking great in the gym, and I think he's one of the highest level guys out there. So with that being said, we'll go on to Nicky Rod's match next. So Nicky Rod is fighting Roberto Jimenez. They have faced before on UFC Fight Pass. Nicky Rod ended up winning in EBI overtime. Now, this is a different rule set this time. It's modified ADCC rules. So it's going to, switch things up a little bit. Now, Nicky Rod has a huge size advantage going into this. I think Roberto now, he is a bit bigger. He walks around about like 200 pounds. Nicky Rod's around, 225, 230, so he does have a bit of a size advantage for sure. And I do see Nicky Rod coming out with the win on this. I think that Nicky Rod will be able to submit him in regulation this time. I don't think it'll go to overtime. Nicky Rod has, been progressing so much in the gym lately and becoming much more dangerous with his submissions. So I could see Nicky Rod either getting to his back and finishing from there, or finishing with some form of front headlock strangle. The next one we got coming up is the main event. We got Craig Jones versus Rafael Lovato. I know Craig has wanted this match for a very long time, but it kept getting postponed. Craig Jones is, much more of a new school guy, whereas Lovato is much more old school. I think Craig will have a heavy advantage in the leg lock department. So if I were Craig, I would go out there, pull guard, and just start immediately hunting for the legs. I do think that Craig will be able to get it done fairly quickly. I think that Craig will be able to leg lock him within the first 5 to 6 minutes of the match. The last time that Lovato was submitted via leg lock was all the way back in 2011 by Paul Harris, so he hasn't been leg locked recently. With that being said, I don't think he's fought guys with the same level of leg locks that Craig has. So the reason I think that Craig will be able to get it done quickly is because Craig knows that he doesn't have a gas tank, and that if it goes past that 5 or 6 minute mark, he's just going to start to fade. So I think that Craig's going to go out hard, and I think that he has the skills to get it done quickly. Also, I forgot, on February 29th, we got the IBJJF Grand Prix coming up. We got a ton of big names in there. We have our very own Haisam Rida. We've got Dante Leon, Giancarlo Bodoni, Kainan Duarte, Roosevelt Souza, Elder Cruz, Patrick Gaudio, and Pedro Rocha. Tons of big names in there, very interesting matchups. It's super exciting to see Dante in there, considering he's by far the smallest guy. The favorite going into this, I would have to say, is Kainan. He's the most accomplished, and then the number 2 seed would be Giancarlo. Those are the 2 ADCC champions going into it. I think that Haisam has been progressing a lot over these past few months. He's really diving in and trying to learn now. His passing's gotten much better. He's getting really good at body lock passing, things like that. And I think that he's one of the most dangerous competitors out there. He can submit anybody. As we saw in ADCC, he was a huge underdog against Cyborg, and he went out there and armbarred him. So I do believe that Haisam is one of the most dangerous guys out there. And a few more years with training with us, and I think that he'll be one of the top guys out there. We got 3 guys competing on Fight Pass in Vegas. We got Haisam Rida in the IBJJF Grand Prix. Make sure you guys keep your eyes out, and maybe I'll be back to competition soon. I'll see you guys next time.